Okay, so I'm gonna tell you a secret really quick. Sometimes college professors are actually wrong. What? Shock, nah. I know, can you imagine? But no, when I first started going to college, I was absolutely thrilled. I was at this little university in the town where I live. I was so excited to be attending college, and mostly I was excited to be attending my first ever creative writing class. Like, I'd been trying all through high school to finagle my way into a creative writing class, but just never ever ended up working out. Tragic, I know. Woe is me and my problems. But anyway, so I got into this class, and the teacher on the first day told us a little bit about how the class was going to work. He wanted to heavily emphasize using writing groups in his class, and I think that that was a good thing. However, I think the way he incorporated writing groups was maybe not the best, because I have since learned that a writing group functions the best when, say I have a piece of work that I've brought to my writing group. The writing group reads it and they say, oh, this part made me feel this way, or that part made me feel this way, and I liked it or I didn't. As caveats to both of those pronouncements, and you as the writer of the piece don't say anything. You just go, and then you take notes and you remember that. And then you go back to the piece that you wrote with the thoughts and feelings that were given to you, and you say, hey, was this piece of work eliciting the feelings in the audience that I wanted, or is it not? Like, I wrote this and it was supposed to be horrifying, but everybody was laughing the whole time, so maybe there's something wrong there, or maybe it's just time to change gears and turn it into a comedy, who knows? But that was kind of the way that I have learned recently is the best way to function as a writing group. This is not how my teacher taught us to do a writing group, unfortunately. Anyway, the entire class, I was there for it. I loved it. I am unfortunately a horrible critiquer, especially when I am told that it is my job as a critiquer to tell people what they did wrong, and that I should also try to provide my solutions to problems instead of just expressing my feelings on their work. I can be really opinionated. But anyway, this class goes on. I brought several different short stories to the class. I wasn't really passionate about any of them. And around came the final, and the teacher ideally wanted us to be working on the same piece of fiction the entire time, and for our final he wanted us to bring in a new version of it. But I was absolutely 110% done with the piece that I had been working on. And so instead of bringing in that same piece, I actually brought in several pages of a comic that I had drawn, and I was like really excited about it because I never had any authority figure read or give me advice about a comic that I'd written before. I'd only just given them to my family, and your family is morally obligated to tell you they like it and then never say anything else. So I was super excited to bring this piece to my teacher, and I did. I brought it to him, and it was, drumroll please, The Heart of the Library Dragon, actually, in one of its earlier phases, before it even had a name. I brought my teacher the first little piece of a comic about a prince and a dragon in a tower, stuck, falling in love, cute. And I met with him after the course because he wanted to talk to me. He was like, you know, I don't know how to critique a comic, and I respect him for that. I'm like, it's definitely a different medium than he was used to, and so I respect that. And he also did say some very nice things to me about how I had a lot of potential as a writer, so he's not a completely... I learned some good things from this man. I want you to believe that going into what I'm about to say next, because the next thing he went on to tell me was that it was a bathwater story, and that it was boring, because all that's in it at the time, all that was in it was just this prince and this dragon, and they're stuck in this tower together, falling in love. And that was kind of the entire content of the story. It was gonna be a really slow burn, it was gonna be really chill, really slice of life. And he wasn't into that. He was like, story need conflict. And I was like, okay, story need conflict. That makes sense. And he did tell me at the end, he's like, don't throw out the baby with the bathwater, you know, like, you got some good stuff going here. And I took that to heart. And so a couple years back, I made a little video featuring the Heart of the Library Dragon characters, people liked it, and I started producing it as a webcomic on the internet. And as I did that, I was really self-conscious about the bathwater nature of the story. I wanted to elevate the narrative, to add action and make it more interesting. So I fleshed out so many characters, and I added all these different places and locations and intrigues and politics, and oh my gosh, it got a little out of hand. My outline, I didn't have an outline. I just kind of went wherever the story took me. And honestly, the places that we went together were not bad places. I wrapped up season 1 a little under a year ago, and I was very overwhelmed looking forward because of all of those things that I'd added. Because of my teacher's statement, I had added so many things in order to try and make the story interesting that I realized I'd kind of lost the story that I wanted to tell. And so coming back to it now, I am going to finish that story. I'm really excited about it. And if you're interested, it's up on Webtoon. All of season 1 is finished. I'm currently working on an outline for season 2, so this doesn't happen again. But write your stories, read your stories, take advice from people, listen to it. But sometimes the interpretation of their advice isn't the exact advice that they're trying to give you. He was trying to say, maybe your story is boring, but maybe my better takeaway could have been, this isn't a story that he would have wanted to read. And that's okay. Not every story is for everyone. My dad, who I love, doesn't particularly love the genre that I choose to write in. And so he doesn't really like anything that I write. But that's not an insult to my intelligence. It's not an insult to my work. It's just a matter of preference. And that's just something we have to deal with. So, yeah. This video has been brought to you by the word of the day, superfluous. Superfluous is an adjective used to describe things that are absolutely useless, such as blankets on a summer day when the sun outside is hot, comic advice from someone who doesn't read comics, sunglasses inside a dark room. Superfluous. Elevate your language. Use superfluous today.